but the state delivers answers about how, when, and where you might be able to get a vaccine.
The biggest challenge here is there just isn't enough vaccine.
Plus, the state launches a 24-hour call center dedicated to answering vaccine questions.
Democrats in the U.S. House are moments away from delivering an article of impeachment to the Senate.
We will move forward with the trial. It will be fair.
In almost 250 years, a former president has never been tried in the Senate. We'll walk you through history tonight.
Denver7 Weather Action Day continues. I'll let you know how much snow to expect tonight and Tuesday.
Good evening, everybody. We're going to begin tonight with a live look at our nation's capital. History is getting ready to be made. A single article of impeachment will be delivered to the United States Senate tonight. This is a live look inside the rotunda. Members of the House will walk over from the south side to the north side. The impeachment managers will have that single article of impeachment, incitement of violence, or incitement of insurrection right now, and it will be read in just a few minutes.
That's right. As they walk over to the Senate chambers, they are setting in motion the second impeachment trial of President Donald Trump, the first ever president to deal with this. So here's exactly what we expect to happen over the next few hours. The group of 9 House impeachment managers, all of them Democrats, 2 of them Coloradans, as you know, will present the article of impeachment to the Secretary of the Senate.
So in past impeachments, and there hasn't been that many, of course, the trial would begin almost immediately in the Senate. This time, though, Republicans and Democrats have agreed the trial won't begin for 2 weeks. And during that time, both sides will come up with their written arguments. The actual trial is likely to start now February 9th.
The House impeachment managers are like the prosecutors of the Senate trial, and they include 2 Coloradans, Congresswoman Diana DeGette of Denver, Congressman Joe Neguse of Boulder. And last week, we asked Neguse about his role in this process.
I think our country needs healing, but in order to have healing, we also have to have accountability. And it's important for us to finish this important, solemn constitutional process. I'm certainly looking forward to making the case.
The president's legal team will be led by this man, South Carolina attorney Butch Bowers. Now, he has experience defending South Carolina governors against ethics violations. He hasn't commented publicly on the case or just how he plans to defend the president. All right, a little bit of civics here. Democrats need 17 Republican votes, so 67 in all, in order to convict the president. It's not clear if or how they'll get to that number. Over the weekend, we heard from several Republican senators. They made it clear they're against this trial.
I think the trial is stupid. I think it's counterproductive.
Democrats say the article of impeachment is essential. It states former President Trump demonstrated he will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution for his role in whipping up anger before the Capitol riot on January 6th. The article of impeachment accuses Trump of inciting an insurrection, and they point to his speech at a rally hours before the riot.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol. If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
And if convicted, Trump would not be allowed to hold office again. So we want to take you back and give you another live look at the chambers as we are expecting this to be walked over to the Senate. We also expect Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont, a Democrat, to preside over this impeachment trial.
So the Chief Justice, John Roberts, last time presided over this. He's not constitutionally bound to do so. So if he doesn't do it, it's either Vice President Kamala Harris or Patrick Leahy from Vermont. He is President pro tempore of the Senate.
And no one has said publicly why Leahy is the pick. And he said today that he would remain impartial.
All right, back to our live look now as those 9 House managers wait to be allowed inside the Senate chambers, a formal process. And really today's actions are ceremonial. This is what has to happen. They will walk into the Senate chambers. The lead manager is Congressman from Maryland, Jamie Raskin. He will read that single article of impeachment, incitement of insurrection, and that should be it for the day. And then tomorrow, jurors will be sworn in. And the reason they came to this compromise as we await for these 9 Democrats to be led into the Senate chambers is so Biden can get a cabinet together in the meantime.
And there they go
first
now,
few days.
Shannon,
Yeah.
and you can see Congresswoman DeGette, who was there in the lead. Sorry, she's back at the entryway now, so let's listen in.
And members of the Senate, I announce the presence of the managers on the part of the House of Representatives to conduct proceedings on behalf of the House concerning the impeachment of Donald John Trump, former President of the United States.
The managers on the part of the House will be received and escorted to the well of the Senate.
And that is Patrick Leahy. He is the oldest serving Democrat in the Senate. Been there since 1974, 80 years old. And this is largely a ceremonial role for him as well, to have this role as presiding over this unusual and once again history-making chapter in our nation's history. I can't remember, and how many history-making chapters this now makes in the last few years. And
this has been a busy year in so many ways, but again, history that you were watching here. As you know, Senate leaders struck a deal to pause and give the prosecution and the defense time to come up with some legal briefs here. So let's listen in once again.
All persons are commanded to keep silent on pain of imprisonment while the House of Representatives is exhibiting to the Senate of the United States an article of impeachment against Donald John Trump, former President of the United States.
The managers on the part of the House will proceed.
Mr. President, the managers on the part of the House of Representatives are here and present and ready to present the article of impeachment, which has been preferred by the House of Representatives against Donald John Trump, former President of the United States. The House adopted the following resolution, which with the permission of the Senate, I will read. House Resolution 40 in the House of Representatives, United States, January 13th, 2021, resolved that Mr. Raskin, Ms. DeGette, Mr. Cicilline, Mr. Castro of Texas, Mr. Swalwell, Mr. Liu, Ms. Plaskett, Mr. Neguse, and Ms. Dean are appointed managers to conduct the impeachment trial against Donald John Trump, President of the United States, that a message be sent to the Senate to inform the Senate of the appointments, and that the managers so appointed may, in connection with the preparation and the conduct of the trial, exhibit the article of impeachment to the Senate and take all other actions necessary, which may include the following: employing legal, clerical, and other necessary assistance, and incurring such other expenses as may be necessary to be paid from amounts available to the Committee on the Judiciary under applicable expense resolutions or from the applicable accounts of the House of Representatives. 2, sending for persons and papers and filing with the Secretary of the Senate on the part of the House of Representatives any pleadings in conjunction with or subsequent to the exhibition of the articles of impeachment that the managers consider necessary. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives. With the permission of the Senate, I will now read the article of impeachment. House Resolution 24 in the House of Representatives, United States, January 13th, 2021. Resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following article of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. Article of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America against Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1, incitement of insurrection. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and the President shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Further, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution prohibits any person who has, quote, engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States from holding any office under the United States, unquote. In his conduct while President of the United States and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of the President of the United States and to the best of his ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States, in that on January 6, 2021, pursuant to the 12th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the Senate met at the United States Capitol for a joint session of Congress to count the votes of the Electoral College. In the months preceding the joint session, President Trump repeatedly issued false statements asserting that the presidential election results were the product of widespread fraud and should not be accepted by the American people or certified by state or federal officials. Shortly before the joint session commenced, President Trump addressed a crowd at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. There, he reiterated false claims that we won this election and we won it by a landslide. He also willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Thus incited by President Trump, members of the crowd he had addressed in an attempt to, among other objectives, interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election, unlawfully breached and vandalized the Capitol, injured and killed law enforcement personnel, menaced members of Congress, the Vice President, and congressional personnel, and engaged in other violent, deadly, destructive, and seditious acts. President Trump's conduct on January 6, 2021 followed his prior efforts to subvert and obstruct the certification of the results of the 2020 presidential election. Those prior efforts included a phone call on January 2nd, 2021, during which President Trump urged the Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, to, quote, find enough votes to overturn the Georgia presidential election results, and threatened Secretary Raffensperger if he failed to do so. In all this, President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions of government. He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled a co-equal branch of government. He thereby betrayed his trust as president to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. Donald John Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. President, that completes the exhibition of the article of impeachment against Donald John Trump, President of the United States. The managers request that for the trial, the managers now request leave to withdraw.
Thank you, Mr. Raskin. And the Senate will duly notify the House of Representatives when it is ready to proceed with the trial. Thank you.
All right, and there you heard the 9 impeachment managers with the lead, Representative Raskin, laying out what looks to be a historic move for the United States, saying that former President Trump remains a threat to national security, warrants impeachment. Democrats have said the impeachment is essential. So what happens from here is anybody's guess. If this will, how long this will go on, will they call witnesses? There is so much ahead, but laid out the case right there.
So a lot rolled into that single article of impeachment. Adding to the historic nature, not only is this the second impeachment, of course, the president is no longer president, and also the senators, the jurors, are going to be hearing this wearing masks amid this global pandemic. Just history all over the place being made here. All right, we're going to continue to bring you updates on this proceeding throughout this evening and throughout this newscast, and we want to hear your perspectives. Anytime, all the time. Whatever you have to say on this, let us know. 360 at thedenverchannel.com. We'll be back after a very short break.